Hello and welcome again to our podcast and our platform. We again are talking to one South African that is to be celebrated. South African doing great things, like we said in our previous podcast, in our previous interview, our previous profile, which again we are very thankful to Dr. Mpho. We've got one of the great people again who are to be celebrated and to be honored. And again, welcome again to Legendary Talks. I have here with me Solly.
Thank you so much, sir. How are you?
I'm well, thanks for asking. And how are you?
No, I'm well, my leader. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We are very happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
This is our second interview, and the crew will tell you a testimony and tell you a story that we struggled to get people to come to our podcast, maybe because we are still new and we're fairly not that much popular with people, though we are here to surprise people. And when people like you decide to take an invite and come to our podcast, we can only be grateful, and we are very thankful to you.
No, thank you so much. I have so much respect for you.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm glad and I'm happy to be here. I want to be part of this journey.
No, don't worry. When we start slaughtering cows, we will invite you.
Definitely.
You'll come and eat meat with us.
Please, yeah.
You have a very interesting story.
Yeah.
We call people here so that we can give people hope. We can give people something to look forward to. Mm-hmm. We can say to people, look at that person and realize that you can be better than what you are. Mm. Where were you born? What was your upbringing like? I just know how to know clever, but we'll get to that part.
Those are tough questions. You know, when somebody is asking me that question, where I was born.
Yes.
I was born in Benoni, but I grew up in different parts.
Yeah.
Of South Africa, because of my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was born in Benoni. There's a hospital there which is called, it used to be called BBH back then.
Yeah.
But now I think it's called Oliver Tambo Hospital. I think it's Boksburg,
Yes.
And then I grew up in Limpopo, in different parts of Limpopo, because I used to move a lot. Yeah. So I'm this child who grew up, like my mom would move me from one place to another place, from one place to another place. In fact, I tell a lot of people that I've never been in one school for 2 years.
Yeah, man.
So that can actually explain my upbringing.
Yeah.
I've never been in one school for 2 years.
Why was that though?
I don't know. Until this day, I can't give an answer to that, because my mom will just, and I'm saying this, which, because some might feel like, but you can't say your parents, they used to dump you. But that's how that's how I feel, and that's how I see it. She used to dump me in every place. Wherever whenever, I'm not sure because I was young, probably when she speaks to family or whosoever that was close to her at that time to say, can I leave my child here? Yeah. And if they accede, then she would drop me there and go for a year, and I wouldn't see her.
Moving on and fast forward, do you think you grew up an angry child? And I'm asking you this because we will get to the part when you were imprisoned.
Yeah.
Do you think it influenced your life and turned you to be the kind of person that you became? Because you felt, I'm ignored, I'm not loved, I'm not wanted, I'm neglected, my mother doesn't love me and all that stuff. Yeah. I must start to find things and do things for myself. Yeah. Did it drive you to where you ended?
I think it did. I think it had a massive contribution, because also I never knew my father also at that time. Yeah. So basically it was more like I'm an orphan, but my parents were still alive. Yes. And, moving from one place to another, having to adjust in different family setup, that's not easy, and also how I was treated as well, because in some families, the treatment was not great. Treatment was bad, in a sense that sometimes I wouldn't eat, because there are children also there. And sometimes I would overhear a conversation between adults. Yeah. They will say things like, Mama umsilemo, and Mama
has left him.
We don't even know what's happening. So I learned at that age to take care of whatever that I have. Yeah. So if I had a 2 pair of shoes, I need to make sure that, they must keep me for
a year or something.
For a year or something, and even if I, as a child, you get sick, there and there, sometimes not feeling well, but I had to make sure that, recover.
Yeah. Because you had to survive.
I had to survive.
Yeah. Do you think that that life of being abandoned, of being abandoned, being left out and all that stuff, and when you really had to do things by yourself and everything, made you a strong person, made you a vulnerable person, made you a person who didn't care, or it drove you to be a person, prison, post-prison, to be a risk taker and to be a strong person?
I think a bit of, it will take a bit of some different situations.
Yeah.
For example, at one stage I used to hate women.
Yeah.
Like I felt like women were bad people.
Yeah.
And to a point, I remember when I was in prison. So, when I see a woman crying on TV, whether she was raped or whatever the case might be at that time, so I would rejoice to say, "Bamlail." I mean, women, they deserve this. Because you must understand, when you are young, so how you look at females, obviously those will be it's either your mom, your grandma, your aunt, and that's how they kind of teach you as to what kind of
they are your teacher.
Yeah, they are your teacher in terms of
first
understanding
love,
uthi basadi ke batho ba jwang.
Yeah.
They give you that. It's more like me. I mean, if I'm around let's say young girls, and if I start to abuse them, if I start to harass them and all these things, that's how they'll perceive men.
Yes.
I'm kind of teaching them, no, this is how men treat,
Yes.
women.
Yeah.
But if I take care of them, if I make sure that they get proper education, they are safe, they feel safe,
the
and
picture
all that.
of a man then that they will have is of a leader,
it's going
teacher.
To be different, yes,
So your upbringing then, like you were saying that you hated women, it's because of the picture that you had when you were growing up of your mother,
Definitely.
These are the kind of people. What role did it play in making you to end up in prison? And how did you end up in prison? Because I'll tell you why I am rushing to get to this point. We look at people from whatever platform. I mean, you're one of the great guys that are motivation. I follow you. I'm sounding like an obsessed person, but I follow you because I find you very interesting. You appeal to the youth, you appeal to young adults, you appeal to men, you appeal to Christians, you appeal to families, you appeal to everyone. I mean, we're still going to talk about you studying towards your LLB and all that stuff. How did you really end up in prison?
Yeah, well, at a very young age then, I had to move from Limpopo to Tembisa to stay with my grandma. And then at that time, it was during this political violence, the Inkatha versus the ANC, things like that. So we were given responsibility in every community in the township. Because remember, the township is designed in a way that there are sections.
Yes.
So in our section, so in every section, they will select 4 or 5, maybe a maximum of 10 young boys who must look after the community. So it means now during the night we need to patrol, we need to make sure that we protect the community. And obviously we need to have access to guns. So
how old were you then?
15.
Yeah.
I think 14, 15.
Yeah.
Because I started committing crimes at the age of 15.
Before we go on, I've got a border in me. And in a border, do you think really, and tell me if I'm losing it.
Yeah.
You are 14 years old.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be at school.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be studying.
Yeah.
And here are adults.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand the political scenario. I'm closer to 100 than I'm closer to 0.
Yeah.
I understand the political. Do you think there was some carelessness in engaging in that war, in that struggle, in that period of seeking black people wanting to be free?
Yeah.
Do you think there was carelessness in getting 14-year-olds like you to end up carrying guns, protecting the community, or was it a responsibility of a young man that we belong to a village and as a young man you've got a responsibility?
I think it was a responsibility because all of us, we understood that we are in a struggle. We definitely understood the the system at that time.
Yeah.
You know, even though there was a transition from the apartheid regime
Yeah.
to a new democratic South Africa,
Yeah.
but we're aware of what is happening.
Yeah.
But also, it was not safe in our schools at that time, because there was also PASO, which was a youth league of PAC,
Yeah.
and COSAS, which was a youth league of the ANC. So there was a lot of violence also in schools.
Yeah.
You know, so it was not safe. And also, for me personally, I didn't see the importance of education. I mean, I had an uncle who was a serious criminal.
Yeah.
And I used to look up to him a lot, because this is a guy that I could relate with at the peer level.
Yeah.
At many levels, by the way, you know. And he used to say to me that, Solly, there's the reason why we have township and we have town. So township is for black people.
Yeah.
And there's the reason why when you go to town, you see white people living the life they are living.
Yes.
And us, you can see, I mean, the conditions where we are. In fact, when you look at the black community, you just see abject poverty. But, you know, so he used to tell me a lot of those things. And also, he made sure that we watch movies like Cry Freedom, where you would see now white people very, very aggressive, oppressing black people, killing black people. And that's where the hate emanated from. So we started hating white people, to say these people, they deserve to die. And he used to say to me that we are struggling because of them. In fact, what is supposed to be yours, the life that you're supposed to live, they've taken away from you.
I'm looking at Solly, a young man who's got issues with family.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Mommy dumped you.
Yeah.
Second part of it, there's white people, the struggle.
Yeah.
You're not even 20.
Yeah.
Third of it, you've got to survive.
Yeah.
You've got to create opportunities for yourself.
Yeah.
For you to eat, you must see how to finish.
Yeah.
What kind of a young person were you? I mean, but
yeah, you know, angry.
Yeah.
There's so much anger, but obviously there's a motivation.
Yeah.
You know, from my uncle. And by the way, we used to look up to a lot of criminals.
Yeah.
Because you must understand, most of criminals who are successful as a result of criminal activities, normally they would move away from the township, right, and buy houses wherever. But during the day, they spend most of their life
Kokas. Yeah.
And that's how we get to admire them.
Yeah.
And you must understand, that person, he comes to you and says, Tlatswakoloi.
Yes.
And then after Tlatswakoloi, the person will give you 50 rands.
Yes.
And no one has ever given 50 rands in your life. The person sometimes will
and
give
not only
you,
that, the kind of a car that you're cleaning, it's a high class, you know.
And so you feel loved by this person, you feel appreciated by this person. Because obviously,
and you admire the person.
Yeah, you don't get to experience the love from where you come from, the appreciation.
Yeah.
And now the person will also give you sneakers, and that sneaker, once you are rocking that sneaker, now you become relevant to your peers. Do you get what I'm saying? So it gives you a certain level of status. So you start to admire these people.
And you want to maintain them subsequently.
And then when you look at professionals like teachers, because teachers normally, but
they don't have cars.
They don't have cars.
It's only the principal who's got a car.
Yeah, they are struggling.
A tired car, actually.
They are struggling. But what's the purpose of this? Why?
Education is irrelevant.
And my uncle used to say to me that they have designed education. Education is a system that will then reproduce itself, you know, throughout generations and generations. So you don't have to go to school. I don't have matric, but I own a property, and you see how I'm living.
Yes.
You know, so that was the kind of mindset that I had. So it was the struggle at the same time, but at the same time there was a motivation to say, no, I think, because what made us to start now and commit crimes, that's why, Tina, back then, we used to, you know, target white people.
What crimes were you involved in, to be specific?
So when we started by stealing cars. So we would move from Tembisa to suburbs.
Yeah.
Because you must understand how the townships are positioned in a way. You get to see, okay, there's a township and now there's a suburb.
Yeah.
It means there's money. That's why even till this day, say for example, Alex.
Yeah.
ba tla tlhoga go Alex ba ye Greenstone ko dirobotong go kopa tšhelete. So it tells you the mindset ko bane ke gore
there is money.
There is money there. So why ba sa kope tšhelete ko dirobotong tsa go Alex? Why would they travel to Sandton? Why would they go to Greenstone? And to go and
because at the back of their heads is that there is money there.
Now that tells you what this the day they decide to commit crimes, they will go to Greenstone, they will go to Sandton. You know. So now we had that mindset, or okay, Whitfield ke magoa, Irene ke magoa, Centurion ke magoa, Nockham Park ke magoa, Paisley ke magoa. We need to go there. That's where the money is. In fact, those people, these things, whatever they have, it belongs to our grandfather.
Did you only do that to white people or even black people?
No, we did it to white people.
Because I'll tell you why I'm asking you this. I was once hijacked and I went through the whole
when was it?
Scenario. Very long ago. You want to expose my age.
Yeah.
I told you, Solly, that I'm closer to 100. So I don't know why do you want to rub it in. I'm closer to 100 than I'm closer to 0.
Yeah.
But it's quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's about 22 years ago, something like that. And the experience, I don't know whether is it because it's me. When I was being hijacked, actually, when these guys wanted the car, I engaged them. I remember very well saying to them, no, I'm not going to give you this car. I said, no. When I bought this car, I was never told that I'm going to give it away. You know, those kind of things. But what goes into the mind of a person committing a crime? In your case, you wanted to survive. In your case, you wanted to put food on the table. In your case, you wanted to maintain a certain status. But really...
But also in my case, you must understand, it was also the fact that we are struggling because of white people. It was not a matter... it was not a matter of trying to put food on the table. It was more... of we are where we are today as black people because of you.
Do you think that notion has changed today?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it has changed today, but back then it was very rife, you know, and would commit these crimes. And I mean, back then we felt like black people don't have money.
You know, I'm asking you this question because I know you appeal a lot to young people, you work with young people and all that stuff. And I've always said to my children, a white person, I'm talking to what you just said, a white person who is my age and who is a man, up until today, I know we might want to argue this one, up until today, they're where they are because they're white and I'm black. A guy who is my age, who is white, who has the same educational qualification that I have, should I have any, and by the way, I didn't buy any degree from anywhere, or I didn't buy any certificate from anywhere, so I don't have any fake education. They've got a farm that they inherited. I don't. My children look at me and say, but why don't you have a farm? You are the same age with whoever, you know, who is white and all that stuff. Why don't you? So I'm asking you this question to say, now that you work with white people, with young people, do you think the notion that says we are where we are because of what white people did has changed?
I don't think the young people, they have that mindset.
Today.
Though they understand issues of race and you know, those kind of things, but I don't think they have that mindset now. I think for them it's all about you know, these new opportunities that come with social media, of which it was different from when I was growing up. I think their world is different from from where I grew up. So I don't think because if you can check, we see most young people, you know, just blending very well in their white communities and having friends with white, you know, and doing stuff with white people. You know, I think the problem is us, you know, the older generation. We still have that mindset.
So here you are hijacking. Successful? Were you successful in that?
You can't be successful in crime because I heard someone say crime doesn't pay, and I say crime does pay. It's just that the rewards of crime, it's prison.
Tell me about you. How did you get rewarded in that case?
So
how did you end up in prison?
Obviously, we started.
How was prison?
We started stealing cars, then we graduated to. Because remember, at that time when we steal cars, at some point will get arrested and remain in custody. Because we were young, we'll get free bail at that
and
time.
And you knew that?
No, I was not aware of that.
Oh, okay.
But you get to learn that, at
system,
this age,
yeah.
obviously you can't go to prison. It's either, even if they would want to sentence you, you'll be subjected to correctional supervision, or they'll suspend your sentence, things like that.
Yeah.
But as we go inside, and I remember I was in Boksburg prison, juvenile, for 18 months at one stage. And once we are there, because remember, in awaiting trials, there are no rehabilitation programs, there are no interventions to make sure that the people must reform, they must change, because it's just a mess.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of movement, bail, going in and out. So you can't actually develop a program that will assist people to reform in that state. And now, once you are there, so I'm in for car theft. I remember Pocheng.diefstal in Afrikaans. Meaning attempted theft of a car. Pocheng.diefstal. I won't forget that because it was on my ticket.
Yeah, you've got a reason to not remember that.
Yeah, Pocheng.diefstal, yeah.
I just know it's Pocheng
diefstal. Yeah, and we were arrested in Boksburg because we were stealing a car in Whitfield.
Yes.
It's far from Timsa, close to Chimiston. So once you are there with these young people who have committed crimes, now you get to meet those who have committed better crimes. Because
bigger and better.
Bigger and better. We used to refer to them as a better crimes.
Yeah.
Back then to say, this really status.
Yeah.
Because even now, somebody who can enter on and somebody can enter on the guys will respect the one who's in for theft.
Yes.
So now will respect the one who's in for bank robbery, for heist.
Yes.
We respect those guys. So that's when we start to have this conversation to say, no, man, so it's quicker. That's why you are arrested. And you can at least hijack 3 cars a day.
What were you using, Solly? Really?
LM keys. When we started stealing cars, we were using LM keys.
Oh, you were not hijacking, you were stealing.
We were stealing. Before we went to hijacking. We were stealing. But you realize we stealing. Because remember, do you know how this thing works? So I would get a So we knew that this car So our mandate is just to go and steal that car.
Yeah.
Because they're not leased.
Yeah.
And then now,
my goodness,
give it to the buyer, and then the buyer got this car ISIS somewhere.
Yeah.
They need to change the engine number, whatever.
And then gone is the car.
Yeah, because they were able to from scratch. I think they had a connection in Northwest, because I remember Northwest Traffic Department was the most corrupt department back then, because
Northwest.
Because
just
a lot
when
of,
I thought Mpumalanga.
No, because a lot of they were coming from there. Because my uncle used to get a lot of those people from there. So obviously, we're like, no, we need to upgrade. And then we started.
You are in prison. You're not thinking of how to stop this. You're thinking of how to upgrade.
Awaiting trial, you can't think of how to stop committing crimes, because there are no intervention program to address these issues.
Goodness.
Only in a sentenced a section where now there are intervention programs, there are opportunities for you to reform. Yeah. But in a waiting trial, there's no such stuff.
And someone can be in a waiting trial for 2 years, 3 years, or something like that.
That's why most of the guys, Babalenko waiting trial, it's easy for them to come out and get arrested again. What case say 4 or 5.
You think there's a loophole that should be attended to?
Yeah, I think there is. I think they should develop. I think they need to. There should be a communication between.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
You're studying to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
The point I want to bring forth to you is that you're telling us about all this. You've got information about that. I don't remember what the movie is. I once watched a movie. This guy was a bank robber of note.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it. It was a bank robber of note. When they arrested him, they realized that he is the guy who can help them to deal with these bank robberies and all these systems and find these people and help the government in whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
In your case, I know you haven't told us a lot about stuff.
Yeah.
In your case, do you think you could be co-opted into the system to assist?
Not only me, I think a lot of...
Yes, when I say you, I'm talking about people who've been in that...
Yeah, I think ex-prisoners, they can help.
Yeah.
Especially in some crimes like cash in transit.
Yeah.
I think some of them, if they can be incorporated, I think they could play a massive role in terms of helping the police.
And we are not
how to
saying
combat crime.
that is the school of graduating.
No.
We're not saying go steal, go do all these funny
No.
things
We are not saying
so
that.
that you graduate and then you can be co-opted into the system.
No.
But we're saying people who've got the experience,
they
who've
could.
gone through those things, they can be co-opted to help.
For example, if there's a security company around this area, and there's a guy who was in for burglary, for example, house breaking and stuff, the guy can advise you as to how to improve your security system.
Yes.
He can advise you to say, no, this one is a loophole, this one, fix here and here. That's what I'm talking about. What I'm saying, they can actually help.
You go to prison, yes, you started by stealing, hijacking.
Yeah.
Take us through.
I get arrested for car hijacking. We were 4 of us. And then I had to remain in custody, meaning awaiting trial, for 2 years and 8 months, no bail because of the nature of the crime. Because whenever crimes are categorized according to what we call the schedules, so there's a schedule 1, 2, 3, 4. So for example, car theft could be schedule 4, schedule 4. Maybe assault, it depends what kind of assault, murder, whatever, it could be schedule 6 or schedule 5. So my crime was classified under schedule 6, which was armed robbery with aggravating circumstances, because once you rob somebody with a weapon like a gun, the gun is an unlicensed firearm. So obviously when you rob a person, it's not like a little honeymoon. There's a aggression there. There's force there, So I was charged with armed robbery with aggravating circumstances. Obviously, that includes unlicensed firearm. Then after 2 years, 8 months, I was sentenced to 15 years.
Oh Lord!
And I remember that 15 years. So the 2 years, 8 months awaiting trial, it doesn't count.
So basically, it's 17 years, 8 months.
Yeah. So it doesn't count for this. I think I don't remember, maybe 20 or 21 something.
What comes to mind? There we go, 15 years.
Yeah.
That same moment when you are given.
No, you know what? Because remember, I was in custody for 2 years and 8 months.
Yeah.
For that long.
No, you were moving houses, Nji.
So already I was used to the system. Yeah. I was used to being locked up for hours and hours, getting that 1 hour exercise to go out, go get food and come back. Yeah. So by the time they sentenced me to 15 years, already I was familiar with the prison system and the prison setup. Yeah. And the fact that I was aware that there's a lot of gangsterism that is taking place in prisons. Like,
were you part of it?
No, I was not part of it.
How did you survive? Because we, from what we gather is that when you get into prison, you've got to belong to a certain number.
I think it's
all that stuff.
You see, I think there's a difference between somebody who get arrested, get a bail, so you don't get to familiarize yourself with the prison setup and system.
Yeah.
And now go and then later, about for 15 years, also go bailing.
Yeah.
Now you're not aware, like you're not aware of the tricks, you're not aware of the environment. I think those ones, they are likely to fall into the trap of joining gangs. But also, I think if you are convicted far away from home, like you are from Joburg or Gauteng,
it plays into Cape Town.
KwaZulu-Natal, I think there you would definitely consider joining gangs.
Yeah.
But I think Runagawan, we are in Gauteng and the prison in Gauteng, and we know each other.
Yes.
When I was sentenced, some they were sentenced to 50 years, 40 years. I knew her mama Mankotrongo.
Yeah.
So when I get there, like, hey, because they want to engage and
that should have provided you with a lot of security.
Yeah.
Because we know of rapes, we know of stabbings, we know of beating ups.
Yeah. But in terms of rapes, so what happens is, so remember there's a juvenile centers, right? In the juvenile age in the prison system, is from whatever age until 21. So once you reach 21, you are no longer a juvenile. Now they need to move you to adult center.
Yes.
Now those young people,
my God,
you see that transition of
that's where
from
they're vulnerable.
too much. Because once they get there now, they are very young, 21. Because remember, people who experience this kind of rapes and sodomy and whatever, it's young boys.
Yeah.
It's not old. So older guys,
They are the ones
they are
who-
the ones who abuse young boys. They become the victims.
You started from juvenile to...
No, I didn't start from juvenile.
Okay.
By the time I was no longer, because I think I was 20 to 21, but I was awaiting trial.
Yes.
Now, when they were sentencing me, I never went to juvenile because already I was an adult. So I went to adult center immediately, which was local maximum prison. So maximum, so for you to be in maximum, at that time, sentences from 15 years going up, then you'll be placed at maximum. It's maximum. From 15 years up, 15 years, life, 30, 40, 50,
it's maximum.
700, it's maximum. So Rona got 15 years. We were more like, these ones, they're not doing much. I mean, they'll go out anytime soon.
Yeah.
You know, so I went to local maximum.
What did it do to you? I mean, I don't care how hard of a criminal you can be.
Yeah.
How IDC, I don't care, kind of a person you can be.
Yeah.
You thrown into prison.
Yeah.
You are in your early 20s.
Yeah.
You're given 15 years.
Yeah.
You grew up as a person who was never loved at home.
Yeah. That's
You
how I
were
felt.
exposed to crime.
Yeah.
Isn't God the most horrible person to you at the time?
He's not, because I don't even know if there is
A
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that time, I don't even know if there is God.
What sustained you?
So after I was sentenced to maximum, and then I knew a maximum, there were 4 sections. So there was a section called observation. That's where now newcomers.
Yeah.
If you are new, you've just been sentenced, they take you to observation section. Then there's a C section, which is the school section. Then there's a D section. That section is meant for sports and those who want to be involved in acquiring technical skills, carpentry, woodwork, whatever. And then there was a section. No, A section was for school. So and there was a C section. So it's A, B, C, D.
Yes.
So C section was for those who don't want to participate in anything, those who don't want to take any part. And you would understand if you check their sentences. Life, 4 life and 90 years.
Oh, Lord.
You know, 600 years. Some of them are serial killers. I remember there was a guy, even now he's still in prison, Barake Lazarus Masingani. I think he was, at that time, he was good top 3 serial killers in Africa. So you find those guys in that C section.
So did you share space with such?
Yeah, I did. So now the issue is...
Wait, you're brushing it off.
Yeah, I did. You share space with them. Remember, these people are very stressed. They are concerned about their sentences.
A guy you're talking about has got nothing to lose by killing you in prison.
Yeah, but also a guy like that. In fact, let me tell you something that it will amaze you. People like that, they're the most peaceful people in prison. Those who are serving a lot of sentences.
Talk to me.
A guy like Lazarus, cool guy till this day. You know.
Is he cool because he's inside? If he were to go outside, he would maintain his coolness.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But you don't normally find them in these wrong activities. Yeah, those are the guys. In fact, those are the guys in maximum who get to participate in recreational programs, who get to participate in different programs there. You know, I don't know how.
How, yes.
Yeah, but these ones, Baba, it's under 20, 30, the 16 years, 17, they are very problematic. Very problematic. I'm not sure. I think maybe because of most of the guys who are doing lives.
They've given up in life.
No, I think they have hope. Because remember, after 20 years, after 21 years, You can write to the minister or to the president,
Yes.
and then you might be eligible for parole. That's why we have lifers who are outside today. If you check our channel network, you will see that there are people who are saving life, but they are out today.
Yes.
So there's hope for them
Yes.
also, you know, because there's a special remission for them.
Yes. You were still telling me that.
So in those sections,
Yeah.
for me to choose one of those sections was, I remember now there's...
You chose?
Because you need
You
to choose. Yeah.
Okay, they don't place you, you choose.
Yeah, where you want to go. So you want to go and study, you go to A section.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do anything, C section.
Yeah.
If you want to participate in sport, D section.
Yeah.
And technical skills,
Yeah.
D section. B section is just to receive the new ones.
So you chose A.
Yeah, but for me to choose A, it was not my intention to choose A.
Yeah.
Part of the reason was, so there was a pastor who came there in prison, and it was during the day, and they were like, no, there's a man of God called chapel. There's a chapel. It's just a room where you can go and pray. Abazalwani, wazani zobana kuno pastor zile. Because remember, there's a prison ministry. A lot of churches, they do have a prison ministry, where now somebody's in charge of a prison ministry. Yeah. They get to go to prison, to give guys Bible, to give guys toiletries, to preach the word of God, to give them encouragement and whatever. Yeah. So a lot of churches, they play a major role, got their prison ministries in different prisons. Now this pastor was there to see inmates, and we went, and I knew now from outside, I mean, whenever somebody mentions the Bible or pastor, we are not coming.
Yeah.
And even there, we're very few. I think we're 15 or 16.
Yeah.
And we went, and pastor started praying for us, and then we started to have a conversation. Who are you? And I remember he opened the scripture, the prodigal son.
Yes.
You know, and he said he would help in terms of restoring us back to God, because he can see that the devil has stolen our lives, and obviously the devil was targeting young people. He even gave an example of when Jesus Christ met Abu Matthew. They were very young. Why he didn't opt for
older people?
Older people.
Yes.
So that's how the devil operates. He likes young blood because young blood
that
has
is
so much
powerful,
energy
actually.
and whatever. And this energy is too much that now you want to express this energy. It has to come out. And now the devil has so many
steals them,
activities that can now avail to these young people. And that's what he said to us. And then he said, I advise you guys, go to A section. In fact, he even spoke to one of the officials to say, Solly and this one, they must go to A section. Yeah. At that time, I was a dropout from grade 10. Dropped out from grade 10.
Which is from 3?
Which is grade 10 should be standard 8.
Yes.
With our language.
You see, we come from different generations.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So it's grade 10.
Don't expose me to these young people.
Yeah.
You talk grade 10 and even I keep from 3.
Yeah, keep from 3, right? Standard 8.
Yeah.
So when I went to A section, I realized go A section, there's ABET level 1 up to 4. Yeah. And then from ABET level 4, once you pass ABET level 4, you can go to grade 10, 11, 12. So because of now I was a dropout go grade 10, I wrote an assessment test and then they placed me go grade 10. Then I did grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. And then after passing grade 12, and then because they used to, NAFSAS, it will normally visit prisons, officials, but Mali UNISA, to say those who have passed their matric in one sitting, let's say 6 subjects or 7 subjects in one sitting, meaning you can't write 3 subjects and then later ungale 3 and maybe 6.
Man, that's unfair.
Yeah. So once you have
unfair,
once you have passed 6 subjects in one sitting,
it
then qualifies you. It's more like according to the standards of today, it's more like a bachelor. And then if you pass it like a S back then, it will be a diploma. If it's below S, I think
how
it will be a
I
certificate.
wish they used those names in our times.
Which one? The certificate.
Diploma.
Yeah. For us, no S or whatever.
S school
no,
living.
nowadays, I want to give
school living.
Certificate.
How paseka H, but no paseka di palazza rugby.
Yeah. No, I'm not. It sounds nice.
I didn't know. So S is bachelor.
No, S is not bachelor.
Which one is bachelor?
I mean, you have to. I remember the points. You were supposed to get 11, 4, 9, 9. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But once it like S.
Yeah.
So if you were to enroll UNISA, let's say you want to study BCom in accounting or economics, UNISA will accept you. However, before you can start to engage with the qualification that you chose, you need to go through this program. It's more like a preaching course. You write 2 modules. And those modules, they're not going to count for your degree. Your degree will still remain 32 modules, but you need to write these 2 modules.
I hear you.
Before. It's more like a preaching course.
Yes, I hear you.
And NAPSAS wouldn't pay for that. You have to pay for that for yourself.
Yes.
They will pay for the direct qualification.
Now, Solly, you are in prison.
Yeah.
You decide to go back to school.
Yeah.
The pastor helps you to do that.
Yeah. And then the fear of being in that section of people who are not doing anything.
Yeah.
There was a lot of gangsterism there. There was a lot of stabbing and all the issues.
Yes.
And A section, which is a school section, it was more like a safe haven for me to say, I go safe.
Yeah.
But there are conditions in that side. If you fail, they take you out of the section.
You must go,
And
so you must just pass to make sure that you don't go there.
No, you have to pass. And that section is very strict because there are rules there.
Yeah.
From 5 to 7 is study time.
Yeah.
If you don't want to study, sleep.
Yeah.
The rules there, it's tough.
Yeah.
You gotta be in class every day.
Yes.
You know? But in other sections, free, and I was like, but the problem is there's a lot of
stabbing,
violence,
and all that. Yeah.
So the intention was, let me go here to avoid that life.
You are out today, and we'll go back to that. You are out today. You're a motivational speaker. You are a great person. You're a Christian. You love the Lord. And I'm not talking about what I've heard. I've seen. I know. For someone who went into prison without even knowing the Lord, tell us about your transition. How did you turn your life to be this Christian that became focused, that is today, if I must tell you, you are studying towards your LLB.
Yeah.
You are a businessman. You're an entrepreneur. You're not angry. You're not bitter.
Yeah.
You've gone through all those things. What is that all about? How did that all happen? Tell me about your Damascus journey.
I think it started in prison because immediately after that, pastor made us to believe that we are no longer like the rest.
Yeah.
We are being redeemed by God. After he said to us, he's going to lead us in prayer.
Yeah.
And that prayer will then introduce us to the new kingdom, which is the kingdom of God. And I believed that. And I received Christ as my personal Lord and Savior from that moment. And something just switched.
Yeah.
So that group, we started now to, because he would give us assignments like, go and read Matthew, what, discuss about it. When I come next week, let's have a conversation.
Let's talk about it, yeah.
And then now, and obviously, out of that, there was a church. And we grew as a church to a point where now we needed to have 2 services because we'd go to other sections as well. Because remember, so for me, I think in prison, it becomes easier for guys to accept God. Because a lot of guys, they put their trust in sangomas and,
Others,
A lot of guys, when they go to court, they perform stuff.
Yeah.
They do stuff.
Poor judges.
Yeah.
Under the tongue.
Yeah. But still, they will be sentenced.
Yeah.
And that's where they kind of like, this thing doesn't work.
And when they go...
So once you bring something new that they are not used to it, obviously it will be more attractive to them.
I think one thing that we are saying right now to all those people who go to prisons to go and minister, they shouldn't look down upon.
I know they shouldn't.
They know. Might not see the results immediately now, but there will be a solid one day.
No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
Yes.
They shouldn't. They need to preach the gospel there.
Yeah.
In fact, not only preachers and ministers of the word, even people, even business people, even people like yourself, you must be invited to go and speak to the guys.
Yeah.
It will make sense because remember, what you're telling them is new.
Yeah.
A lot of criminals never went to school, Bab. Yeah. That's why if you check ABET level 1 up to 4, from ABET level up to 4. And ABET level up to 4 is more like primary.
Yeah.
It's more like higher primary.
Yeah.
Good luck, but grade 12, very few. I mean, I can tell you can go to look up now, maximum, probably you'll find 7 who are doing grade 12. So it tells you that most of criminals, no, they never went to school unless those who participate in white-collar crime.
Yeah.
Those are the ones
who actually are using their education to commit crime.
Yeah. But a lot of them, I mean, I used to teach go You know, you'll be amazed with, hey, this guy, I used to look up to this guy. Hey, this guy can't put together a request, in fact. Because in prison, whenever you want to receive pajamas or sneakers, whatever, you need to write an application. And this guy can't put together application. A simple application to request for pajama. I was like, who blind most? So is this the person that I used to look up to? And that's where you get to see, because now we are naked.
Out there, that is the person you looked up to. When you get into prison, this person can't even fill a simple form.
It can't fill a simple form. But for me, the journey was so difficult in a sense that I can tell you now for free, Oguti, for you to survive in prison, you need somebody to come and see you, about visit the family, because sometimes prison will run out of resources.
Yeah.
Just say body or whatever, they are short of whatever reason, because of corruption and other things.
Yeah.
We should not going to dwell on that, but you need a support system.
Yeah.
Your support system, it must be so strong and powerful so that it can help you.
What was your support system?
I didn't have any.
Because yes, I just want to, because I hear you telling us that, you know, one needs to have, and you didn't have any.
No, I didn't have any.
Which amazes me up until today that you didn't have any of that. Here you are today.
I mean, Mina, I survived with whatever that was provided to me. So I was content. I think a lot of people who struggle are, before they were arrested, I think they were smoking. So fortunately, Niksatsubi, I think that was the most fortunate part about me. And so I used to survive. Whatever that I find, I will survive. So whether it's stress, like I got used to the system, because remember from a waiting trial, I never got visit. But now a waiting trial, there was a time where the apparat they, you know, so I would rely on guys back around the pay. So somebody from my township would grab paid and would like, or the take. So that's how I used to survive a waiting trial. So when I was sentenced, I am used to this struggle. So never I know I don't get a visit or anything, so I'll just have to survive with anything. So whatever I find, for me, it was enough. And, you know, I remember, so remember there's communal cells. You literally 35, 40, or 50. Depending the size, yes, sir. And now, because of now, I've got an admission letter from UNISA. They have accepted me, and NAFSA's already settled everything. I can't be in a communal cell. I had to move from a communal cell to a single cell. Now, in that single cell, when I got there, you know, like it's compared to the toilet. So when I go through, you know, almost half of registered modules. So you look at economics, okay, cool. There's a microeconomics. Hey, you see there's a DVD attached to your study material.
And that automatically tells you that there must be a laptop.
You need to have a computer, a laptop. Yeah. Then you look at financial accounting. Hey, same stuff. And other guys, the law, guys, the commercial subject. Some of those subjects, you need to have a DVD or you need to have a computer because you gotta watch these DVDs. Because remember how correspondent level universities will go wrong. There are no classes, there are no online because we are not allowed to those kind of things.
So you will need family to be able to.
No.
In your case, you didn't.
I've made peace. It's like here. It's like Kamontle. If you look at your contacts and you need electricity at 50 rand, and you know in this contacts, I don't come by electricity. So you make peace with that to say, okay, cool, I'll live in the dark for 3 days, 4 days, get lava sharp. So certain things in life you make peace, that's on. But peace in a sense how you accept, but at the same time you cannot believe and have hope, one day this thing will change. I will go beyond this thing. So you see yourself as a victor beyond the situation. And that's how you perceive yourself. And that is the mindset I had to say, I need a computer now. So now I'm in my cell, right? And I see this thing. And I see there go toilet. Behind the toilet, there's a product. One other product is also cleaning products. And I'm focusing on those products. And there's a voice that said to me, Infit, reach out to those products. How sure about those products? You'll see there's a consumer care line or customer care. Nka those numbers, write them down. Tomorrow speak to one of the officers, prison officials. I will go phone, get an airtime somewhere, because get public phone.
Yeah.
Phone these companies, occupy only the email address. There was a lot of products that's out cleaner. And I did that, and I went tomorrow, the Pusalang Kapara, Kailo phone, hi, this is Liver Brothers, this is what. Can I have your email address? Bamfa email address. And I came to myself. Now I had to draft a letter of request. And then that voice said to me, once you drafted that letter, you must attach proof of admission. Attach your results. Send these letters to these emails.
Yes.
And there was an officer, Penabaraki Mr. Maseko, and then he helped me to put together all these things. Emails. Then I forgot about those things. Then obviously, I started studying Yana, check out the assignments, I still have time. After 2 weeks, remember, I'm one person I've made peace. Sorry, there's no like, hey, Solly Mankga, I know that won't happen because I don't get a visit. I've made peace. Now I hear my name, man. They're calling my name. Hey, Solly Mankga. And then I go, they say, no, that people want to see you. Then we went to that office. Then I found companies, every company that I've written a letter to, they've responded. Because remember, on that letter I said I need a donation, even if it's an old computer.
Yes.
These companies, they brought new computers. New, like new.
Why
And
not?
I remember I got an LG, it was a cordless. I took the best out of it because the president.
Man.
Yeah, because the president.
You-
I had a choice.
Yes, man.
Because the president said to me, you can't have all this.
Yeah.
You can only have one.
Yes.
Then I took one for myself. And so there was a 22 single cells. Guys were studying masters in computer science, LLB, whatever, BA in social work. All of them, their families, they just called, how we are founder. Hey, my child is in university, but for me, my device, my gadget was the best. Because I chose the best one. Say,
Yes,
in front of the screen.
Yes.
And that's how I got to own a computer. And I started studying.
It started from seeing those products behind the toilet that had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. I just had a voice that said to me. So that taught me, it means even if I might find myself in a very predicament situation,
there is a way out.
There is a way out. If I can just be, still and silent and listen, God will speak to me. And that obviously it has elevated my faith, and that's why I always say, I like saying, Uti, you must faith it till you make it.
Not fake it.
No, not fake it.
Faith it till you make it.
As a child of God.
Yes.
So in a nutshell, I'm trying to say, I've seen God moving in my life in those kind of situations. In fact, after then, because I was very good when it comes to economics and most modules of the students by BCom. BCom, it doesn't matter whether it's accounting, economics, or HR. First level, first year, you are more likely to do same module. So economics is there. So the guys will come to me because they master. So I'll make more money, and also I was a teacher.
So, and you are in prison?
Yeah. And I became one of, they could go top 3 about Balong Horror, they were regarded of guys who had money in prison. Because in prison, once you have 6,000, 8,000, you have money. And I was not selling drugs, by the way.
Why?
Because I didn't use my money. Whatever the prison would pay me as a facilitator, because they will regard me as a facilitator, not as a teacher. Because Nikuruta ABET level 4, Kiruta NCV level 4, before by the NQF. And I was also a teacher go metric for grade 12 economics. And also assisting the guys
Solly, let me just jump in here.
Yeah.
Nobody plans to be in prison, and
Yeah.
nobody will tell you that prison was good.
Yeah.
But do you think there was a reason and a purpose for you to be in prison that speaks to where you are today?
I don't think there was a reason and purpose. I don't think gore God can use the tools that Satan to transform someone. But I feel like because already I was in the kingdom of darkness, the devil had my life in every corner, in every aspect, in every dimension. And his purpose or his goal was to destroy me.
Yeah.
And by the time he put me in a place where he was about to crush me, and when God spoke to say, Nkona, I
got you. Yes.
I responded.
Yes.
And that's when God took over.
Yes.
That's how I see it. I know a lot of people will say, President was a blessing in disguise. Yes, I don't know in what context. Some will say, uNkulunkulu uvumele isimo so that we're in prison. Yeah. But I still believe, or even if I didn't went to prison, because God was always speaking. God is always speaking to people. Where a good robot guy.
It's how we receive.
Yes.
How we hear.
If I didn't go to prison and there was a moment where I had to respond and receive Christ, I think my life was going to be better.
You are here.
Yeah.
You are with us on our podcast.
Yes.
We are talking to you.
Yes.
You've got so much. And I also said even with the last interview that I'm sure we're going to have part 2 of this.
Yes.
You are a businessman. You are an entrepreneur. You are in all these spaces that you are at. How does it feel now?
Yeah.
And how do you associate where you are today to where you started?
Yeah.
What is the line? How do you see this all coordinating from having a mother that, according to you, didn't love you, ending up in prison, ending up in crime, prison, and you are here today?
And you know the saddest part about my life, or my relationship with my mother is that my mother died while I was in prison.
I'm so sorry to
He
hear that.
came once, and she came once, and she was very sick to see me. And 3 days afterwards, it was on Sunday, she passed on Wednesday. And let me tell you something. When they broke the news, I was not hurt. Like, I couldn't feel any pain, and I couldn't fake it. You know, I tried to say, hey, Mara, can I fake this pain? To say, hey, I've lost the mother. I didn't. Like, I didn't feel anything. There was no pain. It was just amazing because even the guys were like, in fact, are you sure, this person was your mother? I say, hey, but to be honest, man, I can feel you, I've lost something. And by the way, my aunt came to break the news. So she also mentioned that the guy who was your father passed on as well. That one, it was worse to say, that one very.
You didn't even know him.
But with the mother, it's very rare to find people who didn't have connection with their mothers. With me, it was something different. I was like, Emar, hey. And whenever I say this thing, people are like, hey, when I pull how, and I couldn't even fake it. I tried. It was just difficult. And I remember when the social worker called me because when you lost a parent or
for counseling or something,
yeah, I was like, ma'am, I don't think I need this thing. In fact, they used me later as an example that you can overcome in a situation to others who have lost their parents. So they will call me, I'm fitlin. But this is how I say, no great visit. You get what I'm saying? And obviously, so you must understand, Hore, if you are about to be eligible for parole, it then means you need to have a fixed address.
Yes, I wanted to ask you.
So they must call you to say, this guy was wrong, can you take responsibility? So let me tell you this. None of my family members will I'll take responsibility. Because, and you can't blame them. You must understand. The only thing that they have in their mind is the old Solly.
And that is what society has,
Yeah,
in fact.
they are not aware of all these transformations and whatever. They're not aware.
Also, they were not even visiting you.
No one knows what's happening. They were like, it's fine, which is cool. And no one, I tried. And one of the pastors who had a prison ministry, he offered to help. Because if they don't help, it means now, remember, you are serving 15 years. Now, parole, it means you need to serve half.
Yeah.
Only if you have a place to stay.
Yes.
Because you're still going to be under parole conditions. They still have to monitor you until you finish your sentence. So now, it means, and there's a lot of guys who are in prison now who don't have that privilege of having someone who take responsibility to say, and they are compelled to finish the whole sentence. If I'm 30 years, because they can't grant him parole. Because one of the conditions is, apart from what you have achieved inside, there must be a fixed address. So I didn't have. So, go church. So this pastor, I don't know, I've got a church, go Pinoni. There's a room here, and as long as I'm out here, I'm fine. So I'm just trying to show you,
Sorry.
coming out, where I started as well. And what bothered me a lot was I need to find ways to help as many people as I can, so they don't find themselves in the situation.
You come out from prison, you go to a church, it's a new life altogether.
Yeah.
What happens the following morning?
No, the following morning, because that is a man of God, there was a roundtable meeting planning for the service, because I came out on the 25th of September, I think it was on Wednesday. So they were planning for Saturday service and Sunday service. So I become part of that. But obviously, because of, at that time, I had a BA degree in philosophy of politics and economics.
Is that, you got it when you were in prison?
Yeah. And then I majored in economics. So my second major was philosophy. So, but also Department of Education, they gave us an opportunity to study any diploma. So I did a 3 years national diploma. So normally what happens is, so by designated courses from businesses N2 to N6.
Yes.
After N6, it's a certificate. You do practicals for 18 months. It's a HR. So how do those practicals? I'll design the policies for the school. I'll design the program and assist other programs, get coordinator for 18 months. And then I submit that report, Department of Education. Then they give you a national end diploma in human resources management. So they gave me a national diploma in HR, minimum experience 3 years. You know.
So you're not just getting released from prison as just a prisoner.
No. Me, I had things.
So you used it to your benefit.
Because I had a degree on this side, I had a diploma on this side, and a few certificates at this side. And there's no rehabilitation program certificate from anger management. Because remember, I was stressed. I had so much stress.
It's quite interesting that the guests that we're bringing here, Yala book addicts. I'm sure you're aware now. These guys, they just love the pain and the struggle of reading. Go ahead. I don't know what's fun about it.
So I was just studying because some stress levels, it will lead guys to gangsterism. It will lead guys to step and it will lead guys to. So now I used the Bible to relieve my stress and to numb my pain, and I'll use also the books to say, let me come out, just to something, you know. And I did so well in a sense that I started seeing life different. And I made a vow to myself. And obviously, before I came out, I had a covenant. I made a covenant with God to say, if you can open doors for me, I will not go back. The only time I'll go back to prison is just to help guys to transform, you know. And that's the only time I'll go back to prison and help those guys. But I want to be more like a testimony of not only people who went to prison, but just to say to anyone who's going through whatever, you know, there is there is a possible way out.
Which is I must tell you, you're doing it in a very grand way, because like I said, what we're intending to do, and our main objective really, is to celebrate people who are doing great things, because what you are going through and what you have gone through, more especially, it's stuff that somebody is going through right now. Somebody who might be watching this podcast from prison, who doesn't have visitations, or someone who not even is in a physical prison, but in a mental prison, in a spiritual prison, in a psychological prison, because we've got so many prisons, you know, Solly. There are people out there who just live their lives. They might not be in prison, but they don't have relatives that care. They don't have anyone who cares about them. And for them, life is over. They don't master what you just said, that you've mastered the fact that if you can't have something, or if you don't have something, you accept it and you live on. You know, as we rush towards the end, I just want you to tell me a little bit of what are the programs that you are involved in right now? What are the things that you are doing right now? So that we know even better that after every darkness, after every cold seasons, something came up. What are you doing right now?
So just for a few minutes, when I came out, because the time I was studying, when I was going through macroeconomics as a chapter, I got to learn about international trade, which is import and export. So it was my idea to say I want to venture into the space. So around 2013, 14, I tried to raise money. Then I ventured into import and export. And then I went to China Embassy. They gave me a visa. First time they gave me one entry, we call it one entry, which is 3 months. The second time, China Embassy gave me 2 entry. The third time, they gave me 1 year visa. So I would go to China as many times as I want. I'd go to Dubai as many times as Turkey. And that's why I ventured into the space of import and export, because my intention was to move goods around in Africa. So what about that person where I can move a container from Turkey to Botswana, move a container from Turkey to Kenya. Those were aspirations. But I started small by buying small bulk things, maybe something that's about 200,000, 150,000, and moving them around. So I ventured into that space. But to be in that space, import and export, but also I'm passionate about, obviously, they invite me a lot in prisons, in churches as well, because I give a testimony. And also, Limpopo, I go to Limpopo, I speak to schools there. So, and now I'm busy pursuing my studies because God has showed me a vision, because I realize that there's a lot of abuse when it comes to women and children. And we don't have, there's no much capacity to kind of protect them. So God gave me a vision to say, all you need, it's a master's degree in law, LLM. Then you need to go to Kenya. Because once you are in Kenya, you'll be able now to implement your vision so that you can take it to, other African countries. But because you must understand, kunamanyama vision. We thought we've got a great vision, but that vision, we can't implement them in South Africa.
It's not a local base.
No, it's not. It probably needs you to go to Zim, settle there, implement that vision so that it can expand. And that's how God showed me this. And so that's why now I'm pursuing my studies in law. So I call it Vision 2030. So I'm busy with that now. My focus now is that, because now I'm focusing on that, because I want to get to a level where, because I know once I can get to LLM, it will be easy for me now to tap into PhD. And once I have a PhD, I can challenge some of the acts that I think like they are compromising well-being. Women are not fully protected. I just have passion about the gender-based violence and femicide. I don't know why. Because at the time when I was doing the talks, I used to find a lot of young girls, and they would come to me because I had a girl child talk ministry. And and I'll speak to them. And I'll find a lot of cases, and some I'll intervene to make sure that the perpetrator goes to prison, use my connection, make sure they get help. And I was like, no, I can do something better. So there's a vision around there that I'm working on. But currently, I partner with different NPOs. In fact, I help a lot of NPOs to access funding, because I'm very good on that, to help them as to, you can't be an NPO and still handle yourself like you're not a business.
Yeah.
And an NPO is not for Bomadala or Magog. You can start an NPO as a young person, as long as it's going to develop and change Mapulabat.
Yes.
But how you're going to package the idea, it's good. But also, let me help you to put it together nicely so that it can appeal to funders, so that it can appeal to the correct funders. Because every funding, there's a mandate.
Yeah.
There's a guys that I just helped go Val.
Yeah.
And I saw they were doing great. And I was like, guys, you are telling me all these things. You guys are doing great. What I see here is the fact that you guys need money.
Yeah.
And NLB will be relevant for you guys. And I heard them. And they were telling me 2 weeks back to say, National Lottery Board, they are coming to see our side, or we operate. Yeah. What must we do? What must we expect? I said, no, just be authentic. Don't fake anything. Don't fake any office, whatever. Be authentic. Those guys will help you. So currently, I'm just helping to capacitate NPOs. I was working with, there's a guy by the name of Temba Lukele, Scheme GP. So I was working with him last year just to help him to foundation proper programs, the structures in a way that it can appeal to funders.
Yeah.
You also had a podcast, and I was also helping him to. So I realized one thing about me, where I think, because I was telling a guy on WhatsApp on my way here to say, I've come to a point where I've made peace with the fact that I think I'm just a vessel or a container around the connections. Because this connection that I have, they don't work for me.
They don't benefit you.
They don't.
Yeah.
But if you come, it works for you. I mean, there's a guy in Naeta, they were doing this culture something, and he said to me, in fact, I want DJ Spoot to be on board. In fact, I want the whole crew Amofai to be on board. And I was like, that thing, we can make it happen. And we made it happen. There's a lot, there's a lot of things. When I tap into my connections, people benefit.
Yes.
And this thing, when it comes to me, I'm like, so I've made peace with that to say, in fact, I'm just here to capacitate others,
Solly, I'll tell you something. I think I know you better.
Yeah.
I think I understand you better. And I'm sure the viewers out there understand you better.
Yes, sir.
We have made peace. I like you've used that maybe 3 or 4 times. We have made peace with the fact that there are people like you. And your contribution that you are making, I want you to understand, my brother, that it's not always that you're going to get people to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
You're doing well. And we are proud to be associated with you. And as a podcast, as a platform, not only are we talking to you, but we want to plant your skills. We want to plant you to people, and we want people to come to you and continue. We will still be inviting you, even outside of the podcast platform, but to say, let us go there. We love you, we respect you, and we are honored to have you. I know we can talk the whole day.
Yeah.
We're still going to have part 2, most probably. But continue doing the things that you're doing. Press on and don't give up.
Thank you so
and
much,
we
sir.
celebrate you, and we will bring your flowers one day.
Thank you so much, sir.
Any message maybe that you want to give to some people at home that might need a little bit of motivation?
Well, I think, like I said before, faith it till you make it.
Faith it till you make it.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Tennyson Mukundi Ligete. Let's meet next time. Legendary Talks. We love you. Peace.